everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an awesome call that we're just excited to share about. So if you are joining us live, thank you for joining us live. If you are going to be catching the replay and watching the replay, thank you so much for joining us and watching the replay. Today, we have an awesome call lined up. We are going to be talking about our horses and how we can utilize Protandim NRF2 in our horses and how they can benefit our horses. So many of us have experienced Protandim ourselves. We take that daily, but we can also give it to our horses. And so this is going to be something where we're going to share how these incredible products can activate our horses and the performance and the health of our horses. So welcome to the call. My name is Jen Field. I am a Pro 4 with LifeVantage, and I'm just here to start the call off, and then we're going to move forward. I'm going to give you a little bit of my story, how I got involved with LifeVantage and utilizing these products, not only in myself, but with our horses that we have. I have two daughters that high school rodeo and barrel race, and I was introduced to Protandim Nerf 2 through that. One of our horses that we have broke a navicular bone in their foot by having a deep flexor tendon strain. And I know that's a lot of words, but we're gonna not worry so much about the technical side, but more about how we were able to get this horse from being pretty much completely lame to back running in the arena again. And this is a picture here that we're pulling up right now of my daughter on our horse Lily. Like I said, when she was 4 years old, she broke that navicular bone in her foot. And we went through the healing process through veterinarians. We did all of the right things, covered all of the dots as far as that goes to get her healed and healthy again. But we were ready to get her back in the arena and get her racing again. And I just wanted something to be able to support this horse on a cellular level so that we did not have to worry about an injury again. And that is where I was introduced to Protandim Nerf 2. A friend of mine shared with me about it, and I just jumped in. I was like, okay, tell me more. If this is working for your horses, I am willing to try it. And it's been amazing. Our horse now has been on it for 2.5 years. My daughter has been able to get back into competing back in the arena, and it has completely transformed not only her health, but the performance that she has in the arena, and completely keeps her healthy throughout the year. And I just know, she's doing good, she's healthy, and we have something to support her body. So that's a little bit of my story. I don't want to go into too much detail because we have some amazing guest speakers on the call today. One, an incredible veterinarian that is going to share with you the science behind Protandim Nerf 2. And then we've got some incredible testimonies that are going to close out the call. So I would like to pass the call over to Alice Beretta. This is Dr. Alice Beretta. She is an equine veterinarian. She lives in Georgia with a beautiful family. She has 2 boys, and she's been practicing equine veterinarian for the last 19 years, and she has incorporated Protandim Nerf 2 into her practice every single day, and it's something that she keeps in her toolbox to be able to recommend to her horse clients. So I'm going to pass the call over to Alice, and she's going to continue and share with you a little bit more about the science.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for inviting me on the call. I want to say sorry about the technical difficulties. I could not find the full share button And I'm an equine veterinarian. I do horses. Technology is definitely not my strength. So thank you for being patient with us. And this is something that I am very, very passionate about. So I really appreciate you inviting me on the call. And when it was brought to me, it was shared with me by a friend who is also a veterinarian who had had great success with small animals. And, being a veterinarian, Western trained, we don't learn a lot about herbs and, natural ways of supporting the body. So I was definitely intrigued right away. I have kind of a hectic lifestyle with, owning my own practice, being on call 24/7. I have two young boys that keep me, busy and hopping, and it's quite a juggle. And so when this came to me, I started to dive into the science, and I remember staying up late after my kids had gone to bed, and I just remember thinking, why didn't I know about this? I just right away knew the significance and how important it was, and how, people deserve to know about it. And I was so excited to put my first patients on it to see how they would do. And so I'm excited to share it with you guys today. This is something that I really do believe that people deserve to know about. And what is kind of at the root cause of aging and disease is something called oxidative stress. And we all know what stress is when we look at the horses on the left that are, out on pasture, they're retired, not a care in the world. You wouldn't think that they have a very stressful lifestyle. And then you look at the horse on the right, that is a working horse that is traveling, competing, um, you know, under a rigorous exercise routine. You would think, okay, that horse would have stress. But what people don't understand is that all of these horses have stress, and the oxidative stress affects all of them. And the reason is the oxidative stress is a byproduct of our metabolism. So as horses breathe in oxygen and eat just normal metabolism, you're going to produce free radicals. And those free radicals, when our body is not able to keep them in check and remove them, they damage our cells. So it's cellular damage. And as horses get older, like the retired horses on the left side of the page, as they get older, they unfortunately lose the ability to reduce those free radicals. And when I say this, it's not just horses. We all breathe oxygen. We all have, a similar metabolism of exchanging oxygen and food for energy. And so it affects all of us, small animals, humans, horses. And so this oxidative stress is present in all of our cells and damages our cells. And when you have damaged cells, you have damaged tissues and you have damaged organs, and just the concept of aging. And so what I kind of wanted to leave with you is that we have an astronomical amount of free radicals that we produce on a daily basis, and being able to reduce those efficiently is key in keeping us healthy. So how does oxidative stress affect your horse? Metabolic diseases are things that a lot of us see. I see it in my practice every day, especially this time of year. Metabolic diseases, equine Cushing's, metabolic syndrome, inflammatory airway disease like equine asthma. We see a lot of summer associated inflammatory disease here in the Southeast because of those summer weeds. Eye diseases like uveitis, arthritis, tendon injuries, any exercise related injury, sarcoids, and other types of tumors like melanoma. So the big question is, how do we fight this oxidative stress, this free radical damage? And we've all heard of antioxidants, right? We all know they're good for us. But what people don't understand is there's a difference between the direct antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, the flavonoids, the things that are in our supplements, the things that we take, versus indirect antioxidants that are very powerful molecules or enzymes. They're called antioxidant enzymes that are very powerful at removing those free radicals. And the difference is those direct antioxidants work at a 1-to-1 ratio, versus your indirect antioxidants, those enzymes can really clean up those free radicals 1,000,000 to 1 per second, every second of every day. So you can see that, your direct antioxidants are really just a drop in the ocean. They don't make a significant difference versus your indirect antioxidants is the way that the body deals with this oxidative stress. And so how do we make more antioxidants? Well, there is this pathway called NRF2, or NRF2 is what we call it for short. But it stimulates the production of those antioxidant enzymes in the body. So the NRF2 activator that I use in my practice that we're here sharing with you today is called Protandim. And it's a human supplement that was shown to reduce oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. So you can imagine that that's a big, big deal. Oxidative stress is related to inflammation and disease. So if you can reduce your oxidative stress by 40%, you can really support the body and just, bring out the miracle of natural healing and prevention, because once you fall down that slippery slope of disease, it's really hard to rein it in, especially for horses. They are very, very fragile creatures. So what is amazing about Protandim that really, really caught my attention is that there are multiple peer-reviewed studies on PubMed.gov. And so PubMed is the National Institute of Health website where all medical literature is published. So, in order to have it on PubMed, it has to be peer-reviewed, which is really the top of the line research that has been reviewed by other peers in that medical field and have shown that is valid. And so for me to be able to look up a supplement on PubMed is unheard of, because normally you have to, look at the tub and dust it off and look at all the ingredients and then try to extrapolate from human medicine and, try to figure out, would this potentially possibly help? But here we have, the branded Protandim. And if you like to look at the research and look at the science, definitely go to PubMed.gov, put in Protandim in the search bar, and you will see there are 29 peer-reviewed studies on, cancer, arthritis, heart disease, you name it. So really, really interesting science if you would like to take a look. So you're probably wondering what is in it. So the ingredients are milk thistle, bacopa, ashwagandha, green tea, and turmeric. And you've probably heard of some of these herbs. What's important to know is the herbs themselves have had therapeutic potential and have been around for thousands and thousands of years. And they are just known to support the body in amazing ways. But what is really interesting about Protandim is actually the synergy of those 5 herbs. And the reason they were able to patent Protandim, because you can't normally patent a plant, right? It's something natural, is because the formula is so specific and it does reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And so all of the herbs together, the way that it's formulated, is much more powerful at a very low dose than the herbs themselves individually can be. So this is a little schematic just so you can kind of wrap your head around what NRF2 is. It is just it's a protein. And when that NRF2 protein, that little red ball, is activated, it is released from KEAP1, which is another protein, enters the nucleus of the cell, binds the DNA, and literally flips the switch and turns on these survival genes, these protective survival genes. And those are the genes that lead to more antioxidants being produced, decrease inflammation, decrease scar tissue. And I always joke that horses need all the survival that they can take because they are such fragile creatures, and they always, they're healthy until they're not. And then it's a very fragile balance and a juggling act to get them back to where they were. And if you're a horse owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is how NRF2 works, but it's really a DNA wake-up call. This is a great paper that I love to share that really sums it up and explains just how powerful this is and why we share this information, why we're so passionate about it. But it was published by Washington State, and it talks about the NRF2 pathway, and it says NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So if you are inclined at all to look at the science or, read the nerdy stuff, or just want to, get back to the person who invited you on this call and they can give you more details, but this is just very powerful information. Another paper about oxidative stress in equine medicine, and it's just discussing the fact that your goal is to maintain that equilibrium between the number of oxidants or free radicals that are produced by the body and your body's ability to remove them with antioxidants. And that if you can keep those in check, then you're going to have healthy cells, and it's going to lead to your horse's overall health and quality of life. So as your inflammation levels are decreased and your antioxidant levels are increased, the benefits you're going to see are going to be better skin and coat, increased energy and endurance, a healthier immune system, better joint health and mobility, reduced joint pain and inflammation, stronger resistance to allergies, better cardiovascular health, and just a reduction in age-related diseases. So we kind of, as we go into our testimonials, I just want to, state that this is a supplement, that it is a natural supplement, and that we do not claim to prevent or treat any diseases. But what you're really looking at is supporting the body. The body is the magic. The body is, when it is at its tip-top shape and you're activating the right genes for optimal health, then the body can heal itself. And just very briefly, I just wanted to mention that we do have a canine version that we call Pet Tandem. It is a chewable. It's a little bit easier, for dogs if it tastes good. And the thing to remember about dogs is that they age faster than we do. They age faster than horses do. And so their levels of oxidative stress climb more quickly. And so they unfortunately run into those age-related problems like mobility problems and some cognitive dysfunction and things like that at an earlier age. So we all have an old dog or a middle-aged dog that we want to support, so that we don't run down those difficult years that tend to come too soon with our wonderful dogs that live in our homes and follow us around the barn. And so it's amazing to see how well the dogs do and just how it affects their quality of life. So, and I would like to share a testimonial with you guys. This is Sassy. Sassy is a 17-year-old quarter horse mare, and her owner gets really nervous and didn't want to tell her story herself because she just gets so anxious in front of, crowds and doesn't like any kind of public speaking. And so she said, "Will you please share her story for me?" And so I told her, sure, I would love to. I know I won't be able to tell it as well as Cindy could. But Sassy was diagnosed with laminitis 10 years ago already. I cannot believe it's been 10 years. And unfortunately, it's a metabolic problem that has to do with insulin and their blood sugar. And it's a very difficult disease to treat. We definitely work on the diet and all the things that we're supposed to do, but it just tends to recur. It can be very hard to prevent. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, especially with this, because horses, healthy hooves, healthy horse. And when they have painful feet, it is devastating. And so anyway, Sassy, as owner, Cindy, was just thrilled with the results, thrilled with her recovery. It's been 10 years now. She's still doing great. She's had a couple little, ouchy moments where we kind of had to rein it in and cut back on her grass intake and just really fine tune her diet. But she wears a little grazing muzzle, if you're wondering what that is, on her face, that helps her eat grass more slowly so that she can still have turnout time and exercise, but we can limit her grass intake that way. And then another thing about Cindy that I wanted to share is she has had amazing results herself. When she saw how well her horse did, and I explained to her how it worked, then she wanted to take it also. And so she has had she's had eczema since she was young, and she's an OB nurse. So she's, knows lots of doctors in the hospital and has tried lots of things to help her skin, and nothing seemed to help. And, fast forward many, many, many years, she found out about Protandim and started taking it. And within a month, she no longer had any skin troubles, no itching, nothing visible. And so that in itself was just incredible to her. She never in a million years thought that she would see an improvement like that so quickly. And so that's a, kind of a wonderful side effect of, knowing about it for your horse. People definitely deserve to know about it also. And it is not 100%, we all inherit certain genes, but whether or not those genes are upregulated or expressed really depends on what you put into your body, and from a nutritional standpoint and your environment. And it's an amazing science called nutrigenomics. And it's just fascinating how the things that you take and the things that you put in your body can really affect your genetic potential. So that's an incredible story there for Cindy. And her husband has had allergies his entire life and was on a lot of allergy medications and just had trouble breathing. And he's done incredibly well also. And she says he's been off of his allergy medications for several years now. So just incredible testimonials. I wish that Cindy could hop on and share them herself, but I'm sure she'll listen to the replay, and she wanted me to kind of share everybody's story. Our next testimonial is Aiden. Aiden is a 29-year-old Tennessee walking horse, and Christy is on the call. So I'm going to let her share Aiden's story. Christy is the best mom ever. She was going to do whatever it took to make Aiden feel better, look better, and be back to his old self again. So Christy, if you're on the call, if you'll unmute yourself and share Aiden's story for me.
Hey, thanks, Alice. Hey guys, I'm Christy, like Alice said. I've been married for almost 33 years to my husband, and I'm a mom of 3 boys, 3 adult boys. They're all out of the house. But like Alice said, Aiden started getting poorly about 4 years ago. And I'd already had my pony, Nissa, on Protandim because that's how I was introduced to it by Alice. My pony was chronically laminitic, like Cindy's Sassy, and it had done amazing things for Nissa. So when Aiden started losing weight and just, as you can see, his muscle tone decreased. He was more lethargic, kind of depressed, and then he started having diarrhea. And I had not ever been through that with a horse before. Of course, I've never had old horses before either. So this has been a real learning curve for me. And I was just so worried about him. And with the help of Alice, I took him off of his pasture because there was a lot of acorns at the time. He was eating the acorns like crazy. So I figured out that that's probably what was causing the diarrhea, but that didn't stop it. So 3.5 years ago, I went ahead and put him on the Protandim. I put him on a probiotic. I increased his feed as I had been doing. And the only thing, you guys, that worked was the Protandim. And it worked, as you see, in just a couple of months. My jaw dropped, when I compared these pictures. And this is April and July of the same year. Just to explain, in the bottom picture in July, he had on fly boots and his face is all greasy because he had fly swat ointment on him. Because every year he, in the summertime, he would just get these welts all over him. He was so allergic to flies that he would just be covered in welts. Well, it's been 3.5 years now. This summer was the first summer that I did not have to put a single fly boot on him. I didn't put fly sheets on him. I did put SWAT, but he has not had those horrific welts all over his body. And the only thing that I'm doing differently from then is Nerf 2. He gets Protandem every day. And it's changed his life, and it's changed my life too, but that's a whole nother story. I don't want to take up too much more time. I'll pass it back to Jenny so that she can introduce the next speaker.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. That's just an amazing transformation. And for me to like see the picture, you've told me his story before, but for me to see his picture right here, it just brings so much joy to my heart to know that he's so much healthier now. So thank you so much for sharing Aiden's story. We do have one more speaker, so we'll try to wrap this up pretty quickly for you guys so we don't go too much over our time limit. But our last speaker is a really good friend of mine. I actually went to high school with Rita, and I was sharing about Nerf 2 with what it's done with our horses, also with what it's done with like my health. And she reached out to me and she said, okay, tell me a little bit more about this. I've got this horse that I have tried numerous things on and nothing has worked. I don't want to give her story away too much because she shares it so much better, but her horse's story with Rosie is incredible. So Rita, if you can unmute yourself and just give us a few minutes of Rosie's story, I would love it.
Yeah, so don't mind us. Thanks, Jenny. I just got my child out of school and we're in the store parking lot, so I'll be fast. But
you're good.
Yeah, like Jenny said, I have a 16-year-old mare that last November had a really bad flare-up of uveitis, and if you don't know what it is, and Alice, don't I'll probably botch this, but it's basically her eye is constricted from dilating, and then they call it moon blindness, and so their whole, it's like a retinal edema across her eye, so it went completely white. From November to February, I had been to the vet probably 5 or 6 times. We were putting basically like a Neosporin with steroids in her eye almost twice a day. Her eye would just flare up and get really swollen and really sore, and it was weeping all the time. And there was like some other things that we could do, but they were going to cost like $5,000 to $10,000, and they might last a couple years. And I already have a horse with one eye, and I didn't want to like go there right away with Rosie. But I told her I was not, like, we were not going to go down this road of going to the vet every month. And I was in it a couple $1,000s by this point. And Jenny kept on putting this stuff on social media. And I was like, oh my God, I mean, is this voodoo? Like, is this real? Like, I'm not really an holistic person, but I started taking the horse to a holistic vet, and we were doing acupuncture, and it was starting to calm down, but it wasn't getting better. And so I wanted to go on a vacation, and Jenny said, why don't you just take these pills that I have, get her started on it and see what happens. And that vacation, I had to have a friend to go over and put ointment in her eye every day, which is just a disaster anyways. And she got the Nerf 2, and she was having, I think we started her out on like 3 pills a day. And in 10 days, it was like a massive change. I couldn't believe like we weren't like doctoring her every day after 10 days. And the funny thing was my order hadn't gone through. So she had like I'd say like a week of no Protandem, and it instantly started to deteriorate again. And so I knew it wasn't a voodoo thing, and it was actually working. And I'd read some of the doctor studies too, and I thought, well, this is like our last bet. And that was in March, and now it's August, and I haven't had one issue, not one no runny eyes, no going to the acupuncture. No, I mean, I still keep her, she's got a pretty good fly mask on. So if she has any, she does like still have that retinal edema. I think it might go away, but I think it'll still be a little bit hazy in her one eye, but it hasn't bothered her at all. She got kicked really bad. So we've had an ongoing trauma with this horse, but I think the Nerf 2 helped her recover from that bad kick to the hock. So, and then the one other thing I'll say really fast is we've had 6 weeks of like horrific wildland fire smoke in Reno. And they're out in the smoke every day, all day. And so I put my gelding on it too, because he is just, I just, why wouldn't you? And maybe it might help a little bit. So we're believers.
Oh, thank you so much, Rena. I just love your story and I love you. So I appreciate you taking the time to share, even in your car. And hello,
the jungle
Oakley.
gym. First grader.
Yeah. I'm just going to wrap up the call with you guys. We've heard these incredible stories. And one thing that I love about these products, one, they're natural, they're herbal ingredients. We do not have to worry about what we are giving our pets, our horses, or even what we're taking ourselves, because everything is natural and safe. But when we're giving it to our animals, our horses, our pets, there's no placebo effect. And Rita kind of mentioned that when she talked about, she had given Rosie 10 days worth of Protandim, and then her order just hadn't come through on time and was out for a couple days, and the symptoms started to come back. Us as humans, if we were to take this, our mind starts to go oh, maybe I'm just overthinking things or whatnot. But I love that when we give it to our animals, we can visibly see the results and see the benefits and the health benefits that Protandim Nerf 2 offers. So if you're intrigued at all to learn any more information, please reach out to whoever invited you to the call. I know they would be happy to share with you more information or connect you even with Dr. Alice Beretta, who is always willing to share information and have a conversation with you. So reach out to them. This is what we do. This is our business. We share from our hearts and we share our stories. So if you're interested in sharing even because you just love what you heard, please reach out to who invited you to the call as well, because we love to share. So thank you so much for listening to our Equine Health Talk, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.